I can't get my background
Good
to.
evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening,
Good evening,
and
Nikki.
welcome to Couch Conversations with the Doctors, where health is wealth. What night is it tonight? It is Monday night.
I will go. Did Nikki go out for everybody?
Yeah.
It's storming on the south side. It may be storming where she is. I believe Nikki usually says this is Monday night, and we have our doctors, and we have Congressman Danny Davis, and we kind of do a round of introductions. I can't do it like Nikki, but I'll start off with Dr. Miller.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Do hear you now. We heard you then.
Okay, awesome. Oh, okay, awesome. We're going to start with our introductions as we go around the table introducing our outstanding panelists for today. And we're going to start with the man who says that I threaten him to be here every Monday night, but he tends to always be on time. That's our very own Dr. James Miller. Dr. Miller?
Well, good evening, everybody. We are happy to be participating in this panel discussion tonight. I'm a retired internist. I practiced 40 years, but I retired in 2019. However, I'm still interested in healing our community. So I still try to do all the things that I'm able to do without using the prescription pad and the other things that clinicians do in active practice. So I'm still interested in my community, still interested in keeping it healthy and doing the best I can to inform and to teach.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Outstanding, and thank you so very much. Well, to that outstanding physician who is a DJ by night and a physician by day. That's our very own Dr. Bonnie P. Thomas. Hey, Dr. P.
Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here with my colleagues. Like Dr. Miller, I'm a internal medicine physician at Howard Brown Health, medical director there. But my passion is in making sure my community achieve their most optimum health outcome. And so I know part of that is education, and we appreciate all of the support you and the congressman have given our community and this panel. So I'm looking forward to a vibrant conversation.
Outstanding. Thank you so very much. Well, to that doctor that's known on these streets as Dr. 100. That's the doctor that keeps it super real. That's our very own Dr. Maya Green. Dr. Green?
Good evening, Nikki. Good evening, community. Dr. Maya, I always keep it 100. I facilitate community healing, and I am from the south side of Chicago. We're not going to outside west side situation, and I'm glad to be here to listen, learn. Since Dr. P mentioned it, I'm at Onyx. Boo, 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 boo. I'm at Onyx Medical Wellness. We're on 73rd and Crandon and a couple of other places throughout the city. Thank you, Congressman, for having this. And thank you, Nikki, for designing it. I think we started during COVID and we're still going strong. We started at a time where our community needed a place to fellowship and come together. And look where we are now, at a time and place where our community really needs to fellowship and come together. So thank you for keeping it.
Outstanding. Well, before people start sending me text messages saying why they're not on the west side, she does have a location on the west side, right off Cicero and Madison. So I just want to be clear about that before they bombard us with the west side questions. Well, to my colleague who tends to leave me and go and have fun in the sun, but I wonder if it's raining just as bad where he is today. That's our very own Dr. Douglas Graham. Doug?
Hey, Nikki, I confess you got me in this one. The sun's out and I've been having fun. Like Dr. Miller, I'm a retired physician.
We have our couch chat with the doctors.
I spent 30 years working in the western suburbs, and after that, I retired and worked in the congressman's office. It was a real eye-opening experience. It really intrigued me about doing public health and public service. I've often said I'm going to try and answer the questions as best I can, and I need to change one of my answers from 2 weeks ago. So I'm hoping as we get going, I'll have an opportunity to do that, and maybe draw on Dr. Hampton as well. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with my colleagues and the congressman.
Outstanding, and thank you so very much. Well, to that urologist of the stars, I'm just wondering, is there a doctor in the house? That's our very own Dr. Terry Mason. Dr. Mason?
Thank you so much, so very much for your patience and for you and the congressman putting this venue together. And I feel very honored to be with my very esteemed colleagues as we try to discern and put a little more sense to what is happening out here in the world, and to make sure that we all do what we need to do as best as we can to make sure that we maintain our own healthy lifestyle so that we can continue to do what needs to be done and expand as much as we can to where we need to go. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, Dr. Hampton, can you hear me? Because I see that you're having some technical difficulties. Well, when Dr. Hampton can hear me, I want him to just come on and jump right on there. I want to say hey to Mary Ballinger, who's here. She says, good evening to everyone. Hey to State Rep LaShawn Ford, who is here. Also, hey to Sister Bonnie Schmetley, who is here with us this evening as well. Oh, I see Tony got that fixed. So, hey, Dr. Hampton, how are you? Dr. Hampton is not only just a physician, but he is a chef and guru. So, Dr. Hampton? Okay, so I see that he is still frozen. Well, to our guest that's here with us on tonight, I could not do her justice giving an introduction to her. So what I'm going to do is just tell you a few things about her. Then I'm going to introduce the man of the hour who would actually give her the right introduction. She is the alderman of the 37th Ward. She is also the president of the Black West Side elected officials. But that just isn't all that she does. So for the man who makes this possible for us each and every Monday night, to the one who teaches us that true wealth is your health, our very own congressman of the Illinois 7th Congressional District, Congressman Danny K. Davis, if you could introduce our guest, and then you take it away. You're muted on one side. Let me see. Okay, there we go, Congressman.
All
we
right.
can hear you now. Got it.
Okay. I want to thank all of our panelists and all of those who are engaged. Today has been a day of health. I started out this morning with Dr. Vessel and a group over at I Am Able. And it was a fantastic discussion about trauma and mental health and what we need to do in relationship to it. Then I looked at some communication from the first ladies, and these first ladies are the ministers' wives of several churches that have come together, and they're putting much of their focus on health, especially maternal and child health. And then on Saturday, I was with Winona Redmond, and a caregivers group who were giving awards to people who cared for their relatives and loved ones who are incapacitated. And we heard some wonderful descriptions of what people are doing and how they do it. And it brought to memory for me the fact that my father lived with me and my wife on the weekends from the time he was 87 until he was 92. And we had a wonderful time. I mean, some of the things that went on in the household are just simply unimaginable. And I was delighted to spend that time because everywhere I went during that period, he went. When I would pick him up after I came in on a Friday evening, we would spend all the rest of the weekend until I took him back, generally to my sister's on Sunday evening. And then he would spend the rest of the week with her. And neither one of my parents ever spent one day in a nursing home, a long term care facility. My mother was a semi invalid for many years. And my sister, who lived in Atlanta, just came and got her and kept her until my father's house burned down and he built a new one. And my mother said she wanted to go and see this new house. Of course, when she got there, she wouldn't leave. And so then he had to care for her the rest of her life until she passed away. So we've just had a health, whatever, going on all weekend. And so we're delighted. We thought tonight we'd talk about medicine from the perspective of healthcare that people gave when they didn't have a doctor. That sometimes there was just not, and there were all these remedies and things. You know, people used to wear these bags around their neck when when they as visitor bags. I never understood what they did. They didn't believe in witchcraft or any of that stuff, but they put this bag around your neck and it smelled terrible. But it, I guess, did something. So Emma Mitz is our special guest this evening. Alderman Mitz, we want to thank you not only for being a guest, but I really thank you for the leadership that you provide, especially at the grassroots level. And the fact that the women in your community, I mean, there is a group of women in your community that I wish I could just adopt and keep with me all the time. And you have led them, you have fed them, you have nurtured them. They love you. We love you.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it. And hello to everyone. I'm honored to be able to get a call a half an hour before the show, but I wouldn't have it no other way because the congressman asked for me to do something. And that's pretty much what I learned, to follow leadership. Not so much ask questions if, and just go do. I was thinking about what Congressman was talking about when he said this as physics. Well, they had us taking cod liver oil, uh, turpentine, Father John. And these are remedies that I'll go in the store now and look for it. But most people haven't heard of it. Uh, we couldn't go to the doctor. A whole lot of us are now 15 kids. You can't take us to the doctor for everything, but we learned to use certain remedies. You got a cold, you didn't have no tea. I didn't know what a tea bag was, but I knew what the shucks was off of corn cob to make the tea in order to be able to have have something. Then they had this where you put salt and some grease if you had a sore to put on it to heal it. Uh, we used to drink. I guess the turpentine was to kill the worms. No, ring, whatever. I call them worms. They said rings that's in your stomach or coming from the food. 833 area code. They had message. these home remedies, a lot of them you don't forgot about, but they work during that time. So maybe, it's not a bad thing for folks to know that, given that the way Medicare and healthcare is costing us, we might need to look at some of the things, small remedies that work just as well, because I'm still here. And I might have had one of them asphyxic bags around my neck at one time, helped you to sleep better. I know what it was, Congress. They helped you to sleep.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, they had problems with sleeping. Um, but it is a joy to be a caregiver and to just love on community folks, to help them. This is what our history brought us to band together our resources. That's how we was able to come out of slavery. So our parents had that same concept of helping other kids, sharing with others, feeding people. That's what I bring in my career and my life history, is being that down to earth, not trying to be somebody who I'm not. And I'm not even trying to talk like somebody who I'm not. I'm from the South. I speak like I'm from the South. I, I use words not as much as I used to. I've learned a little bit better, a little bit better, not to say certain things because it was improper or incorrectly. But I am just so grateful. I have been able to, there's always one in the family that seem like they take care of everybody in the family. So I'm that person. I don't run away from it, because if I can help, then I don't look at who's going to help. I just do what I can do. If you want to get in on it, that's fine. But we have a duty. God give us gifts. And I always say I like all the gifts that I got, so I don't want them to take nothing from me. So if you got a talent and you're not going to use it, you better watch out, because I have it. I tried impossible. If God say I can do it, I'm going to do it. I'm at least a try. Um, Nothing beats a failure but a try in life. So you have to be willing to step out and into the unknown. It's not so much of what you think you know, it's so much that you don't know that's going to make a difference in life. So I try to learn something new every day. I try to listen. It's important. When Congressman talking about the first ladies luncheon, we had all these first ladies there. And I had never had an opportunity to hear about their health and wellness going on. But and listen to them, they have problems like everyone else. They have concern. They want to know about the maternal birth. They want to know about uh, they call it the pocketbook. That's the first time I heard about a pocketbook, Minister Harvey. Uh, when he was talking about women's having birth and the after effect and um, our hormones and these flashes that the men have to deal with, and what causes these and what we can do to help ourselves. So that a lot of this information don't get talked about enough.
All right. I think, Nikki, we can move ahead. We lost her for a moment.
Yeah. So I want to say hey to Sharon Conaway, who is here. She says hello to all. To my sister, Melanie Winston. She says good evening to all. Hey, Melly Mel, how are you? Sharon also said that blessed olive oil cures everything, per her grandmother from Little Rock, Arkansas. So you got to bless that olive oil so it can heal you. Want to say hey to Dwayne Banks, who's here with us. Nemi Ward is here. Hey, Nemo. Karen Scott is here with us just as well. Dr. Lolita Travis is here with us. Cashmere is here with us. Sasha Dalton. Hey, Sasha. Sasha is here with us. Char Lewis is here with us just as well. I want to say hey to Engine Company 17, who is here with us. I want to say hi to the guys over in the garage. It's raining out, so I don't know where you are, but I see that you're giving your shout out. So I want to say hey to you guys just as well. I want to say hi to our friends over at the Course Center. They say asphyxity bag. Someone says I wore one. So very good. Very good. All right. I want to say hey to Renelle Perry, who is here with us just as well. And Renelle says she has a question, but I think she's having just a little difficulty trying to type that out. We're going to wait. Oh, she says warm salt water. Gargling with that would help with that toothache. So, okay, want to say hey about that toothache. Thank you so very much for sharing that just as well. We also have Kevin who is here, and Kevin says baking soda and warm water would help get rid of indigestion. Okay, Kevin, thank you. Tons and tons of people are rolling in with some of their cures or some of their holdovers. Sandell Scott is here, and she says hey to everybody just as well. Well, between Dr. Pete Dr. Pete is here. Tony still looks like he's frozen. I hope not. And Dr. Maya is here, and I see Dr. Miller. I just have a question, and that question is, how does some of these natural remedies kind of work? I mean, like, even now they're telling us, have more echinacea, have more turmeric.
Yeah, I can go. I think, Nikki, at the end of the day, the pharmaceutical industry was not the first nor the last of the healing mechanisms, right? So a lot of these ingredients and herbs work from an anti-inflammatory perspective. So where inflammation is the sort of nidus of disease, these are anti-inflammatory. So they reduce the amount of swelling and dysfunction that a cell can have. So rather if that cell's in your stomach, or if it's in your heart, if it's in your liver. So these ingredients tend to be anti-inflammatory, and a lot of our ancestors had these ingredients, and even Native Americans and others as well use those.
And I'll dovetail anti-inflammatories like anything with vitamin E, turmeric, ginger, generally will decrease the inflammation, like Dr. Pete said. But I want to recall that, like Dr. Pete said, and like what they were saying earlier, a lot of the medicines, a lot of the remedies existed before the pharmaceutical industry. So a lot of the medicines are actually those natural compounds that are processed. For instance, metformin is a processed form of lilac. And so a lot of those, yeah, I come from a mama that does African traditional medicine, so we still got elderberry and all the other stuff. And right now I got my hibiscus tea that my mama makes because it's that season. I don't know if y'all can see it. In Nigeria, we call it BSAP. It's hibiscus, ginger, some other stuff that my mama would get me if I tell y'all. But I still come from a family that practices a lot of natural medicine, Buddhist medicine, just like Dr. Tony Hampton. My sister's a vegan chef, and so a lot of it are natural
You
compounds
might be right then.
that they took and processed into a pill.
Let me tell you, my mother had healing in her hands. And, when we were kids, she could put her hand on our forehead and we just automatically feel better. we we'd be just waiting for it to come. So just walk in the room and my whatever would subside. It
Mm-hmm.
just go away. If it didn't, I thought it would. And so I guess as long as I felt better, and I always did, I just knew she had magic in her hands. And so we'd want her to come and look after us.
Yeah, when I was in my obstetrics training at West Suburban, we talked about the importance of the touch of a mom on for the babies, and it was really, my recollection is that it was oxytocin, the hormone, which would connect the baby to the mom and make the baby feel secure. And it's that same hormone that'll actually make you feel healed when mama touches you. I mean, my mama kissed my little scratched knee when I was running around on the west side, and it didn't take seconds before I was out there running again. It was a beautiful thing to behold. Nothing like a mama. I'm not sure if my daddy was around if it would have had the same effect, but I think it's something about mama's kiss that's a little bit better. But I do recall, speaking of mamas, my wife's aunt in Mississippi. I know we're talking about like potions and things like that, but her great aunt was in Mississippi, and she was a midwife back then. And they actually, I can't remember which town it was, but she was such a staple in the community that they have a museum where her aunt is her great aunt is honored, and I think the midwives back then delivered the majority of the babies of African descent back in the day, and but they were just they were more than just midwives. They did everything. They provided spiritual support and counsel, and they did everything. So you have to do what you got to do when things are tight, and it's just amazing to just think about the people who, we're very resilient as a culture, and you have to do what you got to do. And ironically, you could argue some of the care they received in that setting was some of the best care, because half the battle is to just feel like the person who's caring for you actually cares for you. And I just think that that's one of the reasons they were successful. The only thing I do recall from my childhood is that cod liver oil, going back to like things that you can consume. And I don't think I didn't know back then, but I know that cod liver oil has vitamin D. And I'm telling almost every patient that I see, we need vitamin D, particularly with our dark skin, partly because we don't get enough sunlight. But even if we lived in Florida, we may not get enough vitamin D. So the irony of vitamin D, which is so critical, is that a lot of insurers are not paying for it anymore. So if you order a vitamin D level, it may not be covered. So we're being advised in the Advocate Health System to just advise people to take it. And if you get it through cod liver oil, that's okay. But I just want people to know that we improvised back then, and I don't even know if we knew how important it was, but cod liver oil was something I took every day because my mom took that tradition that she learned, and I didn't get sick as much probably because of it. So
Yeah, I took cod liver oil too. I'll put some I wanted to speak a little bit to the touch. There are a couple of things in addition to oxytocin. The reason we would sit the baby here is because right under here, even though not directly running, is a nerve. It's called the vagus nerve, and it will calm. And literature shows that energy heals too. So, Congressman, when you say, "Hey, my mom put their hands on her," I got a growing up in Chicago joke. I always tell them my gift is a laying of hands, and people can get a Paul or Saul, but but it's still the gift, and it comes without repentance. That's my joke. But I know when people lay their hands on you, there's an energy that does come with that, and the literature shows that when you touch somebody, that's why hand holding is so common among people that are lovers or among people that are family. and things like that. That's why long hugs are there, because they'll balance your breathing and your heart rate towards each other. And so a lot of times, if you're in pain, your heart rate is up, your cortisol is up because pain is stressful. And then when balancing your in a breathing exercise by yourself, and certainly when you have another person with you, will decrease that cortisol and bring you to calm. The other thing about the knee is if you notice, like when you like, if I get an ouchie right here, my mom comes and does like that, it activates some fibers called the C fibers, I believe. Yeah, C fibers. And those fibers kind of distract from the fibers that are telling you you have pain, and gives your body something else to focus on. So that's why rubbing the knee, or the mama says, let me come here, let mama kiss and make it better. It'll activate your C fibers. And then so that's some of the science behind it, but certainly your mother a lot of times won't even have to touch you. Just the presence of someone in the room will activate, who loves you and that you love, will activate that oxytocin, like Dr. Hampton said.
I was
Well,
thinking, I never saw a black doctor until I went to college. And I hadn't thought about that before. And when I came to Chicago and met Sue Ish and her sister-in-law, their daddy and father-in-law had been the one black doctor that we had heard of. He started something called the United Friends, but he was in Little Rock, Arkansas. And that was my mother's doctor. And of course, to get to Little Rock, and that was about 100+ miles away from where we live. And so when I met Sue Ish and all, I said, oh my God, Dr. Ish. My mother thought he was the greatest thing on earth. That and he was a black doctor. And it started the United Friends, which was an insurance that provided medical care to the people who joined. And I think they were paying I think my mother may have been paying a quarter a month or something. And when she died, she still had this insurance policy from the United Friends. It was worth $500. I never forget. But meeting the Ish family, oh yeah. Did you know them, Dr. Miller?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
One of the things that I will say in today, and during the time that I practice, I find that people are just the average person is much less informed in terms of what I should do if I get sick. As opposed to people of a prior generation. They actually had a plan of things to do. But today, people will come to the doctor, go to the emergency room without any real understanding of what this might mean or what might be happening to me. And so, I'm not, I suppose that sometimes they say that that necessity is the mother of invention. And the fact that people did not have or access to or could afford to go to a doctor, with many of their issues, that they realized that, I got to come up with some stuff that I can do when I'm sick or my children are sick. And many of these things were things out of observation, which is, scientific. In other words, if I'm doing something or utilizing something, and I've been told about it, but I tried and I see that it works in this situation, and I find it helpful. And so, if you had no other option, that might be a good thing to do. Talking about, I heard someone spoke on this thing with asbestos, whatever it is, that smell bad. I don't know what it actually did, but one thing it did do is that the rest of us did not get sick, because they put it on a sick person, and the rest of us would abandon that individual. So we, in a way, was not exposed because they smelled so bad that we weren't close enough to spread whatever virus they may or may not have. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, there were so many different home remedies that people came up with that helped them to resolve symptoms. I mean, some of it was obviously based on symptomatic things. I mean, someone talked about salt water, salt in hot water. And I
Mhm.
grew up at when I had a sore throat that I would put some salt in water and I would gargle and
Right.
the reality is that's
Right.
saline, which is what salt in water is, does help to reduce swelling and so
Mhm.
inflammation and swelling was there, so it does help to decrease the symptom that is causing your throat to be uncomfortable. And so I imagine if you did have a a bad tooth and that was causing some swelling or an abscess or something, that you would get some symptomatic relief. So these things were not without without some merit. And when we go back and read and look at the history of medicine, I mean, things happen that way that people tried things when they didn't have other things to do, and until they found out what works in various situations. So, not like I say again, need create is that necessitate us coming up with some answers that help us to solve issues. And so, I always try to tell patients at least think and try to figure out what you're going to do when you get certain things. I don't want you to run to the emergency room when as soon as your nose starts running, but have some idea. And because a lot of times these things that our grandparents knew and did was beneficial to them and to their children and grandchildren that they help. So but at least they had a plan of what I'm going to do when things happen, and I think we could do more of that. We could stand to do more of that today.
I
Mhm.
got a thing. Speaking of just something real quick, I don't know if anybody else heard of it. I'm one of 10 children. Grew up in Inglewood, and every now and then, when my mother would think that something is not quite right, so her diagnosis is that we needed a working, and a working meant that you had to get a tablespoon of syrup of black drought, or you had to get some form of a laxative and castor
Mhm.
oil,
Mhm.
and out from the oil of the castor bean. Whether
Mhm.
they weren't scientists, they didn't know any of this stuff, but they knew that when they gave it to us, we got better. Now, why we did, don't know. All we know that we did. So I just put that out there in case anybody
Mhm.
else ever heard that term, that you needed a working, and that it meant that you needed to be purged with laxative.
Seems like my mother was listening to your mother then.
Mhm.
I'm gonna use that tomorrow at work. I'm gonna tell my patient, you need a working. You about to get a working. But listen, y'all, I may get sent to HR, but what did he say?
Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
Dr. Thomas.
Well, Dr. Lolita Travis says, let me tell you about asphyxity.
Oh,
She said
Mhm.
asphyxity is an anti-inflammatory and an antibacterial. It has these natural compounds. She says, however, it was used for digestive issues, asthma, and even bronchitis,
Mhm.
menstrual discomfort, intestinal
Mhm.
parasites, and general stomach pain. She said,
Mhm.
so in its day, it did well. Also, Frank is here, and Frank says, if you eat more kimchi and sauerkraut, it is a natural probiotic. Want to say thank you for that. Mandy Mohammed is here with us, and he says that he is here and he is listening. My sister Melanie Winston is here, and Melanie says she loves hibiscus tea. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Kim
Yes.
Alexander Jackson is here, and Kim says, good evening to everyone. Karen says nutmeg tea and black cohosh tea will help that pocketbook. All right,
Yeah.
good for the helping of the pocketbook. All right,
Amen.
garlic helps on your blood pressure. That comes from
Mhm.
Stan. Thank you, Stan, so very much. Then we have Tracy who says, Father John, who created this? It was crazy. We also have Stephanie that says Vic Sabs is the cure-all to everything. And of course, we have Tina Hammond that says, no, Vaseline was the cure-all to everything. It was the natural Band-Aid, and it still works today. Our doctors have just given it a new name, calling it petroleum, which is its natural name, but it's Vaseline. It will cure everything. Then we have Tyra 2 that says 666. Terrible numbers, and it is of the devil. And Dr. Pete, it would give you that working you're talking about just as well. So this working is getting us. Want to say Mel is laughing, but Mel says faith healers. Faith healers. That's what we were. Sharon Conaway says grandma's hands. Kathy Jones says different doctors have different opinions on statins. What is your opinion of them? And Doug says he's not Kathy. He has something for you. Stanley Radcliffe is here and say, hey, Stanley. Stanley says, I just had a young Black doctor, 31 years old, to do surgery on my eye. And he did a great job. All right, good for the doctor. We're going to give him a hand clap. There you go. There you go. Wilbur Cook is here. Wilbur says, good evening. What are panel recommendations about handling atrial fibrillation? Okay, we'll have one of the doctors grab that for you just as well. Mary Ballinger says, I gave my son's Father John every day. Every day? That's a working. She gave it to him every day.
Well, I might as well just go and get her phone.
And they were seldom sick and never had a cold. Very good. Stanley Radcliffe also says this is a good conversation
up there.
I know,
because the
right
health
here where it
system,
said Doris.
On that line, there's a line there.
wait a minute.
There's a line right there.
There's two.
There
This
we
one,
go.
where it said
Give me
Doris up,
one
or
second. I can't
where it said Doris
see
up on this
her.
one at the
There
top.
we go. Okay. Stanley Radcliffe says this is a good conversation because the health systems is changing so fast. We need to find an alternative way to help make some things easier and better. Okay, I got you. Mary Ballinger says, Dr. Mason, my mother called it a cleaning out. So she was cleaning yourself out back then. That working was a clean out. All right, go right ahead. Can you
All right,
so
come
Doug,
on.
here's your opportunity to
I
talk
just
about
hang
the
up. I tried.
No, you're still here, Emma. We see you. You're here.
So is the floor mine, Nikki? So Kathy Jones asked this question about statins, and I answered the question incorrectly 2 weeks ago. And I'd like to kind of give you the backstory of this so that it becomes clear why I answered this question wrong. Statins have been around for quite a while to lower your cholesterol. There are now 3 generations of these drugs. And it's been known for a long time that they cause muscle aches and pains. And when you're a rheumatologist, a fair number of the referrals that you see are for statin-related aches and pains. It turns out that a very small percentage of them actually develop an autoimmune disease that you have to be able to diagnose and treat. So now, I retired in 2019. In 2022, somebody did what they call a meta-analysis when they looked at all of the studies and all the patients that were involved. They looked at 176 studies, over 4 million patients. And I think that all the doctors on this panel say that's a pretty big analysis. What wasn't part of my education at all was, it turns out that if you are Black, you have a higher incidence of side effects. The normal incidence is only 9%. African Americans have a 30% incidence of side effects. If you're Asian, it's 25% incidence of side effects. And the other thing that I learned that really made me concerned was, if your blood sugar is elevated and your hemoglobin A1C is elevated, it can tip you into type 2 diabetes. So these drugs are not particularly as safe as I thought they were. And if you want more information, you can look up this journal. You can print it out online. It's in the European Journal of Cardiology. It's what they call a high impact journal. It's one of the top 6 journals in the world. And so you can be confident that this is very carefully reviewed, statistically sound. And there's a very beautiful little picture. I'm going to see if I can show this to everybody. On this, And you can see all the different risk factors for side effects for statins. And so my recommendation would be have somebody print this out, take it to your doctor and say, how many of these risk factors do I have before I take this? And if I need to take it, what can I do to minimize my risk? Because most of the doctors will tell you, if you can tolerate it, it's better to take it than to not take it. But none of us want you to take a medication and make you sicker than when you were before we prescribed the pills. So my apologies, I got that one wrong. I firmly believe that our purpose here is to give you the best information we possibly can, and I'm trying to do that.
Any conversation related to statins have to be individual. Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Any conversation related to statins needs to be individual and nuanced. There's no good or bad in this conversation. So for me in my clinic, I definitely have concerns about statins, but I also think that it depends on the person. So if I have a person in front of me who has had a prior heart attack, a prior stroke, has stents, has had a bypass, things like that, that person is more likely to benefit from statins than a person who has not. If a person, there's a condition called familial hypercholesterolemia, where your LDL, which is the so-called bad cholesterol, is extremely high. In that setting, it may make sense to take a statin. If a person is at high risk for a heart attack, and that would be a person with diabetes, your risk for having a heart attack if you have diabetes that's not in remission is equal to a person who's already had a heart attack. So a person who has diabetes who has not gone into remission in my clinic, it would make sense to consider a statin. When you put diabetes into remission, you could argue, but that's an argument, that maybe that's the time to not consider a statin. If a person does a heart scan or a coronary artery calcium score test, $49 test in our health system, and they have 0 plaques, that's by the American Heart Association says that you don't have to take a statin in that particular case. So those are the people that should take it. You also have, why do we have caution about it? Because as ironic as this sounds, people who take statins have an increased risk for diabetes. How ironic is that we give the medicine that reduces the risk for heart attack a medicine that can increase your risk for getting diabetes? It just doesn't make sense, but that's just something that doctors argue about. Obviously, the muscle symptoms, the aches and pains are an issue. And I think there's other side effects that people worry about. So in our health system now, and I'm sure in others, we give our patients permission to tell us if they're having symptoms. If you're having your severe symptoms of the drug, we do have an opportunity to maybe not use the drug and use something else. They have other options out there. Zetia would be one. They have a shot you can take now these days. So there's other options. So, but it's not a black or white thing. It's not bad or good. It's just you have to look at the individual. What I try to do, and what I'm suggesting we all do, is what led to the need for the statin in the first place. So if you can reverse the conditions like diabetes type 2, which is you can put that into remission, then all of a sudden you take away the things that put you at high risk for heart attacks. Therefore, you may be in a position to not take medicine. So that's what I want our country to do, is move toward what's the root cause of your problem. Use maybe medicine as bridge therapy until you get your lifestyle in order, recognizing that all these social determinants of health in our community make it harder to do the lifestyle. It's hard to jog in a neighborhood where you're worried about, somebody robbing you, right? So we have to be sensitive to that as well.
And then if I can, I don't know if we have time, I'll grab the AFib just so we can complete this. I know I'm Virgoing today, as I can.
Can you also grab Stanley Radcliffe's question too? That's towards the bottom about the allergic reaction.
Okay, I don't see it. Let me answer the AFib, and if you ask it for me, because I don't see the chat, I see the video virtual platform. Okay, but So AFib, essentially I'll start with what blood, a couple of things blood does. Blood does a lot of things. It carries minerals to the body. It carries oxygen. It's like the mail system. And it goes in, oops, you get a cut, it goes in, it has stuff to patch it up. Oops, you get an infection, it goes in, it has the army, it sends the people, I mean, it carries the people from the army or the cells from the army to heal that. But focus on the part where if you get a cut, blood will rush there, it's made to get together. And when it gets together in the open space, it sits there, right? And that's how you get a meshwork that gets the scab, that gets the healing. That's what blood does. But let's focus on that component. Now, AFib, your heart is a blood vessel. So all those vessels I was talking about, your heart is one of them. It is the blood vessel that has the pump. But in order to pump, it has to pump in sequence. Push it down, push it more down, push it down, push it more down, making things flow in a certain direction. But if blood ever pools in any space in your heart, what is it going to do? It's going to do something called coagulate, which means it forms a jelly-like substance. So more of it can come in, it forms a mesh, and it wants to form a clot if it sits, right? So that's what blood, so when you have AFib and it's not pumping in a certain direction, you got blood there sitting too long, right? So in order to keep the blood from sitting too long, you have to do a couple of things. Make it pump in the right direction, and make it pump on beat in the right direction, because it does me no good. Like I'm trying to push it, I'm pushing it, and everything's pushing real fast or real slow or not on beat. And so the blood ends up pooling, right? It has to go in the same direction, and they all have to beat at a certain pace. If that doesn't happen, you get these clots, and then it pumps, and it'll pump that clot to your brain, to other areas of your heart, and things like that. If it pumps a clot to my brain, I get a stroke because it cuts off the circulation of those minerals and stuff I was talking about. So that's the formation of why AFib treatment is so important. So you can do a couple of things. You can make it thinner so it clots less. You can take a medicine to make the beat happen. Things like that. You can rate control, you can rhythm control, you can thin it out. And I think, and then the other thing you can do, as Dr. Hampton said about cholesterol or diabetes or whatever it is you can make lifestyle changes to decrease the likelihood that you would have exacerbated problems in the first place.
That's right.
Those are the options. And that's the treatment of AFib. You control the rate at which it pumps at a certain amount. You control the rhythm, so it all pumps together down in one direction to get that blood out the way. You can thin it out, so if it does pull, it clots less. But remember, if it does pull, it clots less. That means you'll get easy bruising, easy bleeding, because we wanted to keep that clot originally, so my sores and the other things can heal, right? So you got to think about that. The ultimate thing we do, and I think somebody mentioned in their comments, is stay out of the secondary and tertiary care by making the lifestyle changes to decrease the likelihood of having it. And so we can get into medicines if you like, but it's rate control, rhythm control, clot control, lifestyle changes is first. All right.
Outstanding, and thank you so much. What Rebecca Perry Kerr says, Epsom salt and water will give you a working too. Veronica says, Alderman Emma Mitz, it is refreshing to see you here, and I have always voted for you and Congressman Davis. I wish I could vote for Congressman Davis again. I felt I did when he told us to vote for LaShawn, but I will also be voting for Emma again. I can't wait. So thank you, Veronica, so much for your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Sonia says, Alderman Mitz, your First Lady's luncheon was incredible. Can we have that segment about the doctors again? I thought it was amazing. And the fact that it was a safe space for us to talk. The only other time I had this was when the congressman did his segments throughout the district on fibroids. That was a long time ago, Sonia, when we did that. So that was a good that's good memory. Thank you. So Alderman Mitch, she wants you to do that again.
All right. All right. I heard him. I kind of think that we need to do it again too. I said, can it be a monthly thing that we do once a month? Um, in fact, I have other first ladies outside my ward who've asked about attending one. So it could grow into something even more. And that's what it's all about, really, is education. So when we educate our folks, they do better. And when they do better, that's less that we have to do. And that's the least thing we can do to give back. And that don't cost us anything.
Outstanding. Sonia also says, thank you, Dr. Meyer, for being there. And she says, thank you, Congressman Davis, for letting Nikki be there. So wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. Belinda is here. And Belinda says to Alderman Mitz, she says, Alderman Mitz, the 37th ward is continuing to grow, and we can only grow under you. So thank you, Belinda, so much. Stanley Radcliffe is here, and he says, I've been taking, I think that is Losartan, for 20 years. I've had an allergic reaction, and the doctor told me to stop taking it. My lips were swollen, but they told me to stop in the emergency room. I think that's what that says. It's getting a little blurred. I am waiting to get another prescription. Thank you, Stanley, for sharing. I'll have one of the doctors quickly go over what an allergic reaction is and how you should respond with allergic reactions. And Mary Ballinger says, you all never fail to give the best health awareness information. I am thankful to be able to receive this. Many thanks so very much to each of you. I deeply appreciate it. Can one of the doctors quickly grab allergic reactions, whatever you may be allergic to, and how you should respond?
So I think this is a great question. I just want to say, I think he did the right thing. And the reason why is if you get swelling, especially around the mouth, the next area is the neck. And it can make you very, very difficult to breathe. So that's why you need to be in the emergency room and get the drugs that can suppress the swelling. And so for me, in my practice, this is a very serious set of circumstances. I personally would be reluctant to try another statin. I think Dr. Hampton's idea of a different kind of drug would be the right thing. Some people would try to send you to an allergist to get allergy testing. I don't know how realistic that is. I don't know how expensive that is, as opposed to trying lifestyle changes and a different kind of medication. But the swelling around the lips, the eyes, the throat are really, really serious. That needs to go to the emergency room. Other people get rashes. That may not be as serious, but it can be very uncomfortable as well.
Awesome. Well, so Stanley sent in a few words. I'm going to spell the last one that he gave, and that's LAVISTSIN. So I think that's the drug he probably had an allergic reaction to. Chatty is here, and Chatty gives Alderman Mitz a thumbs up. She says, this panel is off the chain every Monday night. She said, but for the congressman and Emma Mitz to be here together, this is wonderful. Thank you, Miss Chatty, so much.
Thank you.
Kathy Jones is here. She says, the panel of professionals is a blessing. Mary says, amen. And Stanley thanks us. Well, you guys, I know you hate to hear me say this. And we have roughly about 270 people with remedies. I don't know where they get it from, but we've got remedies. It's about 270 of them. And I can't read them all because it's our time. And I know you guys hate to hear us say this, but it is our time. As always, we're going to go around really quickly and get our until next Monday. So, Dr. Maya, Dr. 100, what's your until next Monday?
Until next Monday, you know what? I know my schedule got busy. I just want to say thank you. This is all. It's fellowship for the community, but I'm part of the community, and it's fellowship for me too. I enjoyed hearing all the bombs in Gilead that we got today, and I enjoy reflecting because a lot of the healing, a lot of the stuff. Somebody mentioned that sometimes some of the stuff we create may not be scientifically proven in journals that other people create. But I want to recall that the first healers, the first scientists, it goes all the way back to Imhotep. You know, we have healing in our lineage. It is our right and is our entitlement. So thank you to, and yes, entitlement in this community. We should be entitled to be healed, to have healing, to have safe spaces. So I have to hop off, but thank you all for creating a safe space for the community and also for me. Until next month.
Outstanding, and thank you. I've read just about 30 people who asked the question, why does BC's and stand back work better than most of the aspirin? If one of the doctors could answer that question in the chat, that would be great. Well, Dr. Tony Hampton, our weight loss guru, you're until next Monday.
I want to actually make my final comments about
That's what it was.
the esteemed
Yeah.
Dr. Maya, because her comment, the way she expresses information, is how I try to make videos on YouTube. But she keep it very simple, very relatable, and you want to meet people where they are. What I've learned is that I'll be going to multiple conferences this summer to speak, and some of those conferences will have the average lay person, and some of those conferences will have doctors and PhDs. And what I try to do is speak the language of both, meaning at the 5th grade level. Because guess what? Smart people understand simple, and people who with less education do. So I just want to celebrate how she expresses herself, and also the people who come to this platform, because you're doing something that a lot of people are not doing, which is growing through knowledge. So I hope that you learned something tonight, that, or at least were entertained. So to me, it was a little more entertaining tonight because we touched on a subject that we often don't touch on, which is, what is the Vicks Vapor Rub doing? And as I've gotten older, I laugh at my wife because she'll put Vicks on, and for some reason she thinks it's like some type of a pill I'm supposed to be attracted to. I would have laughed at her years ago, but now it's like, I got the Vicks on today, so that's a good thing. So that's too much information, but anyway, I appreciate you, Congressman, for the opportunity.
Well, I don't care what you say about Vicks Vapor Rub. It works for Charlie horses, and I wear it for Charlie horses. So you go somewhere. That Vicks will get rid of a Charlie horse in a minute. Vicks and pickle juice. You can go ahead.
Definitely the pickle juice.
It will work for a Charlie horse. You can go about your business. Mary Ballinger, I love you just as well. I love you just as well. Gracie says, Alderman Mitz, what about that pot liquor? Okay. What
That's
about pot liquor?
a hot powder that you take too, I suppose. And that's corn whiskey. And, well, you don't have the corn whiskey now, but you get some kind of white whiskey, your lemon and your honey. And, you put a little turpentine over in there. And usually, if you sweat it out, it usually help with that cold that you have. And that's what we use for medicine when we was ill. So usually they say that it actually, that liquor kept a lot of folk from getting sick. I don't know what was in it. You know, too much of it ain't no good for you. I can tell you that much. You end up like me, laid out somewhere in the woods and not know what's going on when you're supposed to be watching something fixed up there. That's another story that I could tell you about. But what I wanted to talk about, let me tell you a healing something that we need to know. Usually we see healing oil. And just like we're talking these remedies, people use healing oil. The churches use it, and there's power. Is what you want to believe in and how you're using it that it can make it a reality. If you don't believe things, sometimes it might not work for you so well. But if you believe it, they ain't been using these for hundreds of years. Healing oil been around So I would suggest we keep using it, or learn why should you use it. Um, and the one thing I want to leave everyone with is really important that I've learned when we go to the doctor. Most of the time, we're unprepared. And what I mean by unprepared, you know you're going, you know there are some things that you might want to ask the doctor. By the time you get in there, it's done left out of your head, and you're out of there, and you done forgot to even ask what you want. How about just taking a few notes as to what I want to ask the doctor, so you won't waste their time, you won't been lost, and usually as they get older, don't send their family member to the doctor by themselves.
That's right.
That's a no-no. An elderly person has no business going to the doctor thinking they're gonna remember everything that the doctor told them. Now, if you care about your loved one, I'm here to tell you you need to prepare to go with them, have someone else to go along with them so you can help to explain what is going on, get information that you can bring back to other family members so everybody be on the same accord.
Right on.
That's it, Nikki, for me.
You are absolutely right, Alderman Mitz. You are right. Dr. Danica Wilson is here, and she says no one should go to the doctor alone, no matter what the age is. Thank
Right.
you, Alderman Mitz, for sharing that information. So,
Yeah.
well, Dr. Miller, you're until next Monday.
Well, I just want to thank Alderman Mitt for her wisdom. Wisdom is so important, and it seems like sometimes, as we are entering this new age of information transfer and gathering, that uh, it seems that sometimes people forget what experience. I was always taught that experience is the best teacher. So those that have experienced it probably understand it much better than what you just read about or heard about. And so it's important to remember that those that have seen it, have experienced it, that they have a lot of wisdom, and that wisdom is so important to helping us to keep from making mistakes as well as to succeed with whatever it is that we're trying. And I think that this conversation tonight has brought several things that made me that I'm thinking of, and one is that we really do have to prepare for two things. One is we have to try to figure out what we can do to prevent ourselves from getting sick, and also prepare ourselves for getting sick. I mean, sometimes even the best that we do, we may still succumb to some illness. So we do need to be prepared. And it brings to mind the fact that we have a hospital in a community that is underserved, that has closed, and that the people that are going to probably suffer because of this. I mean, the surrounding ability to get their care at some of the surrounding hospitals, that either the hospitals are now going to be either overloaded because of the lack of one of the hospitals that provided that care, as well as the time that it takes in an emergency situation to get to where you're trying to go. So I think that as a community, we got to really look at that and figure out what it is that we can do to make certain that the facilities that we need are open, and that they're ran in a way that they can survive, and that the right thing is done for the community. I mean, I understand that there's a business here, but the most important reason for hospital is to take care of people that are sick, and it's important that we have facilities that are able to do that, and that they are dedicated to doing that. And it's just that I'm bothered by that happening. Actually, I don't live too far from West Suburban, and I might need this care. Um, Even though it might not be the place that I normally go. In an emergency, it might be the place that I need to go. And so it's important and I know that there are a lot of other people that I know that was the nearest facility to them. So we really need to do something to solve that issue, so that, again, we are not short of being able to provide the care that our community needs. Our community deserves this. They deserve to have good care. They deserve to have quality care. And so we need to come together and work on that.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, Dr. Mason, you're until next Monday.
I think it's been covered very well by my previous colleagues as they gave out their statements. I think there's a lot that's come out tonight, and you need to sort of sift through it and think about what works best for you or what you want to concentrate on. And know that we're going to be talking probably about these things again. And if you have questions about it, it's a good time to write down the questions so that you can make certain that they get answered during the next couch conversations with the doctors. And I thank the congressman and Nikki for making sure the platform is here and doing what needs to be done. And it's worth its weight in gold bullion.
Outstanding. Doug, you're until next Monday.
Well, at first, I want to thank Kathy Jones and Stanley Ratliff for their questions. I'm thinking that I had the same thoughts that Alderman Mitz did, that if you're somebody who's had an allergic reaction, you want to write down when you see your doctor, how should I handle this? Because there's lots of different strategies. He may give you a packet of pills to take if you get swelling, or he may give you a pen that you inject yourself with. So I think it's very important if you go or you have a history of a family member has an allergic reaction to go there and say, please give me some instructions, what it looks like and what I need to do, because that bit of information can save your life or their life too.
Outstanding. Well, Renelle Perry says, thank you all for keeping us engaged. And we also have a viewer that says it's important for everyone to register and vote. Your health depends on it. Thank you so much. Well, Congressman, as always, take us home.
Well, let me just thank everybody. This is so important. It's so delightful. It's so informative. And, to hear an esteemed physician talk about a balm of Gilead. I remember when I was a kid, we used to hear the preacher talking about, what do I have to have and hold? Is there a balm in Gilead to heal a sin-sick soul? And me and my buddy would say, that must be some real powerful stuff if it can heal a sin-sick soul. So that must really be something we'd be trying to figure out. And so it's just fun for friends and neighbors. And, my block where I live had a block discussion Saturday afternoon, just kind of a tea and conversation. Nobody looking for nothing other than people getting to know each other, getting to interact with each other. And whoever had time, stop by and have a cup of tea or whatever it is that you was going to drink. I was glad to hear Sean on with us. And I know that he's going to have a lot of fun representing all these wonderful people and being a part of all this great stuff that goes on. I'm going to grab myself a cod liver oil cocktail. And lay back and watch a little television and do the best I can. But thanks, Nikki. Thanks, everybody. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I bought some turnip bottoms the other day at Pete's. I ain't figured out what to do with them yet.
Well, Congressman, I'll cook them because I want to turn them. And now I know Tony is probably going to flip out when I say this, but fried turnip bottoms is really good. They taste just like fried green tomatoes. They are good.
Maybe I'll see.
Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Good night,
Have
all.
a good night, everybody. Thank you all. Yes, tried